Hey everyone, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime request review. Today, we requested a review KonoSuba by Chapdatext. So thank you, man. I appreciate it very strongly. I am glad you told me about this because I'm telling you, this was awesome. By the way, once again, guys, I'm talking pretty quietly. I apologize. I'll up the volume later with the my editing software to make sure that it sounds loud enough for everyone to hear me. I'm doing this really early in the morning this time, and once again, same consequence of doing it so early and so late. For example, gotta be careful of who I'm, talking to, how loud I'm talking, all that stuff. But don't worry, regardless, I have a review today for you. Oh boy, Konosuba escaped my radar completely, and I think that's because I saw the studio who did it, Studio Dean. And I'll be honest with you, Studio Dean to me has a track record of making horrible decisions with their anime. They tend to do things where you have a great series get ruined. Like Umineko is still infamous to me, where Umineko had such potential to be a great series, and instead of finishing it, they went, let's not finish it. No, let's go to the manga, let them do it. And I'm like, why would you ever do that? Why? No, that's not what you do. You don't end the series like that. It's just, But other studios have done that too before in the past. I'm not just blaming Studio Dean, but they typically have that track record associated with them. Now, Konosuba, I did not hear about, and I then looked it up after Chap told me to look it up, and I noticed this huge thing of people loving this show, and I'm like, well, I gotta check this out. This looks awesome. Now, really fast, Konosuba, if you look at the image I have right now, it kind of looks like a harem. I'm honest with you guys, I don't think it's that much of a harem. I don't even really know if it could be considered a harem. I would consider a comedy, kind of just action fantasy show. And that's the thing about it, is that there's really no harem elements here. There's some pervy fan service moments here and there, but even those scenes aren't even that bad, surprisingly. So Konosuba's main storyline, or by the way, Konosuba's actual translation, English translation, is God's blessing on this wonderful world. It's pretty long, so I'm just gonna say Konosuba from now on. But we have our main character Kazuma Sato, who's the only guy in the picture right there, and Kazuma is actually a kind of a neat shut-in person. He doesn't really go outside, but when a limited edition comes out of a video game he really wants, he decides to venture outside. And in the process, he ends up getting killed by a tractor. Yeah, yeah, I'm not gonna explain why he got killed by the tractor or how. I'll let you guys figure that out. But what he ends up doing is he ends up going to the basically the realms of the afterlife. Now he's met by a goddess called Aqua, who tells him he has two choices. He could either be reborn in another person's body in a whole different lifestyle that could be worse or better than his own, or he can just go to heaven, which apparently, according to Aqua, is not that great of a place anymore. It's filled with like old people and filled with people that don't do anything. They have no physical body. So she's like kind of disappointed. He's like, wow, that's not really good choices. However, she then gives him a third option. He could be reborn in a world where it's fantasy. He'll keep his body, he'll keep his memories, and it'll be this fantasy realm which exists on a whole different plane where they must defeat the Demon King if he wants to get back his original body to go back to Japan. Now, he ends up getting pissed off at Aqua through a very series of comedic things that she does to kind of annoy him, to the point that when she asks him what one item he could bring anything with him in the world, anything, it could be a sword, it could be magic, it could be weapons, anything, he ends up saying he brings her with him. And guess what? She must then abide by it, and now is with him trapped in this fantasy world until oh, I lost my train of thought. Sorry, someone screamed outside my apartment, so I was like, wait, what? No, don't worry, I'm not getting yelled at. It's some just random passerby. Until he actually defeats the Demon King. So now him and Aqua are placed in this fantasy world where they meet two other people. They meet a girl named Darkness, who's the girl on the left, and a girl named Megaman, who's the girl on the right. And all these characters have some weird quirks. I mean, Megaman, for example, the witch, she is only using explosion magic, which explosion magic is all fine and dandy. She's very powerful at it, but her body can only use it once per day before it then just shuts down. Essentially, she can't move, she can't walk anywhere. She can only use it once. And Darkness over there is a masochist who prefers to get into fights just because she can get hurt by them, and she's not good at fighting. She actually misses almost every opponent she ever fights. Like, she has sword skills that are essentially aimed at everything but the enemy. Now, what's funny about this is Kazuma also himself is now trapped in this world too, of course, with Aqua. And based on the fantasy world, he thinks, oh, I'm going to be this super powerful character and all this. He is actually given the job of merchant. That's how weak he starts off at. He's got high intelligence, high luck, but that's about it. Aqua, on the other hand, gets a role of being a magical caster, archpriest, I believe, and even then, she's not even that great. So it's just up to these four guys to actually stop, the Demon King, but also in the process just live and make an earning to keep themselves actually with a place and well fed. Now, I'll tell you guys, 10 episodes was a shame for this. I think they really were afraid that this series wouldn't do that good, and that was a smart idea, I guess, in the first point, but I am so glad that already season 2 is confirmed, and a season 3 might be on its way after that. We don't know yet, but I am telling you guys right now, this show is freaking funny. Besides the cast of characters all having their quirkiness and personality quirks and all that, it is just every episode I was laughing. I was laughing hard with every single episode. Time wasn't going fast enough on the show. It was like I was watching it and I'm just wow. I could have watched 30 of these episodes and always been laughing, I think. The story, yeah, okay. Besides the story not being really anything you've seen, not seen before, I should say, it's one of those stories you've seen before. It's funny because what they do with the tropes and stuff is the cliches of the show is they make it the humor behind it. So you have the whole leveling system where you can level up, and so he gets his, for example, Kazuma gets one of his first powers as this ability to steal things, and of course in fan service-esque aspects, he steals a girl's undergarments. What a surprise there. This show, though, even besides that, doesn't have fan service that's ever creepy or annoying. It's actually pretty tame fan service. You only have certain things here and there, and it's not even that bad. That's the funny thing. It's all this humor is coming from the characters and how they talk and how Kazuma reacts to certain things. All the humor is not just fan service. I thought this show would do that when I saw the characters and how the show looked. And I'll tell you, that's why you can't judge a book by its cover. This show is awesome. It is funny. It's awesome. Soundtrack wise, I think the soundtrack is probably one of the weaker points of the show. I didn't like the music per se. I didn't like the opener and closing. I really didn't like any of the background music. The voice acting is stellar. I think everyone had their parts on the T. I was laughing every time they said when they're spoken along lines. It was just great. Overall, animation wise, I forgot to talk about animation. Animation wise, the show is not that great looking, but I think it's not trying to look that great. It's trying to be a funny show, and in that, it nails it. That's why if I had to review the show A through F, have to give it an A minus. I know it's surprising. It really is, because it sounds like it has some quirks of the story and kind of the animation wise, but the comedy, the aspects of the comedy are enough that this show has to be watched. It is that funny. I was cracking up at some of the dialogue and even some of just the concepts that you have. It is great because of that. It is enough to keep this show running just on that alone, and that's very rare I ever say that about a comedy show, because there's plenty of comedy shows in the past that I've given like B minuses to, or B pluses, or C pluses. Like Defrag, for example, is a great comedy show, but I would never give that anything higher than a B. I think maybe I give it a B plus, maybe, but I think I gave it a B. I have to look back in my old review for that. But honestly, this show is awesome. Definitely worth checking out. 10 episodes long, you can't go wrong. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Again, I apologize for the quiet nature of these reviews lately. It's just because I've been doing these at awkward times, and it's just kind of how it has to happen. So, next time I promise I'll have like louder volume voices with my reviews. Anyways, guys, have a great day. I'll talk to y'all later until our paths cross again next review. Stay solid, everyone. Bye bye.